It's Hawksley Workman here, and I have a little rule. Only hang with legends, and that's why I'm here with the legend himself, Toronto Mike, a bike man, a podcast man, a lakeshore man, a man who understands the machinations of the city. God bless him. Let's roll the music. Let's get to the show. Here's Toronto Mike.
What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love. I'm in Toronto.
Welcome to episode 1794 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by retrofestive.ca. Use the promo code FOTM to save 10% right now. They're Canada's pop culture and Christmas store. Great Lakes Brewery. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees. From Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Blue Sky Agency. Ask Doug Mills about how Silent delivers the space to focus, collaborate, and recharge. Nick Iones, he's the host of Building Toronto Skyline and Building Success, two podcasts you ought to listen to. Kindling, go to shopkindling.ca for free 1-hour cannabis delivery. Recyclemyelectronics.ca, committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Today, returning to Toronto Mic'd, it's Hawksley Workman. How you doing, Hawk?
I'm excellent. I am excellent. How are you?
I think that was the best cold open yet. Like, I've been doing this lately, and you get kind of a mixed bag of results, but you hit it out of the park, buddy.
Well, I've always, as you know, I've always kind of wanted to be in your lane of show business. The whole talking into a mic is exciting for me. It always has been. I had walkie-talkies that I got for Christmas one year, and I ran a little radio show out of my bedroom to my mom in the kitchen. So, and I'd put the walkie-talkie close to the tape recorder and play some stuff, but it was a lot of talking, just me in my bedroom pretending to be a radio guy.
Well, you do, speak, or maybe you're singing more than speaking, but you do present in front of a microphone for a living.
Yeah, it's true. But, I'm sort of confined to showing up to those gigs and singing those pre-written 3.5-minute tunes, which I love. It's a great job. I love my work more than ever, frankly. But it's the improvisational nature of the, guy on the mic responding in the moment to what's happening. I sort of feel like, terrestrial radio, and you go live daily, right? Still?
Pretty daily. Yeah.
So you get to provide that old 20th century experience of like people having a collective listening experience. Like when I had a job, my first and kind of only job in Toronto was in and around when people started to talk like Seinfeld. I didn't have a TV, but I saw it happen and I knew what was happening. I was like, oh man, like we're all collectively starting to be sort of molded. Our language patterns are starting to change to sort of adopt what's happening in this popular TV show. And I get excited about those kind of like when everybody culturally is on the same page, because it's so a la carte now. So it's really hard to have that, like, we're all in this, unless it's a sporting event. That still kind of has that.
You nailed it. As usual, Hawk, you nailed it, because we live in what you're referring to of the Seinfeld references. That was the monoculture. Everybody was watching ER. Everybody was watching Seinfeld, right? Like, yeah. And today it is very fractured, with the exception being, and I don't know how big a sports fan you are, but like I remember the Four Nations Cup, is that what it was called? When Canada played USA for gold. This was earlier in 2025. And then this Blue Jays World Series run. Like that's what it takes now to bring a collective together to experience some piece of culture simultaneously.
Yeah. Well, I married into a sports family in Peterborough, and they're sports people going back generations. And so all of a sudden, I'm a guy who grew up in a house where when my brother and I asked our dad if we could play hockey, he said no, and we
Wow.
never went back. It's not we watched hockey and watched baseball, watched tennis. So fast forward to my new adult life where I've been married into this sports family for 15 or 16 years. And now I live in Peterborough and I go regularly to see the Petes. I go regularly to see the Lakers. We have Lakers season tickets. And what as I'm in show business, so I'm walking into these venues into the Memorial Center in Peterborough, and I'm like, what is it about sports that brings people out in such numbers? Because I'm in the arts and I would love to have these type of numbers in the arts. And I think what it is the arts are have over time really started to streamline and perfect what it is it puts on stage. And I think with computers and tuning and quantization and just the general sense that like what we're listening to is possibly not what came out of the artist's mouth and hands. When you're at a sporting event, what you're seeing is what all art should be. What you're seeing is somebody's going to win and lose. There's going to be a lot of emotion through this. It's going to be a very dynamic experience. We don't know what's going to happen. There's going to be people get hurt. There's going to be people win. There's going to be triumph. There's going to be grief. All the stuff that I think probably used to live in arts, in the live arts, I should say, in the 20th century and before, because you didn't have the sort of like, panels of computers and hard drives behind the scene. Like if Bono can't sing tonight, like that's okay. We got three Bonos under the stage and there's a track running anyway. So don't worry about it. Like I sort of feel like the arts need to move in the direction of sport insofar as that it offers a very dynamic experience. Like improvisation. And I mean, I know jazz in some ways is like the only remaining improvisational sport. I know that. I guess you can do Fish and Grateful Dead. That wasn't my scene, but there's a reason why that stuff is popular. Again, there's a risk when you get on stage and improvise. And I guess there's a risk when you ask me before you hit record, hey, can you do a cold opener and let's see what happens? That to me is why I still love this job. I love the serendipitous aspects because it's the part that keeps me feeling like I'm still in the moment, you know?
So I'm going to see you. Well, I'm going to see you on November 21st in Guelph, but many listeners are in the GTA, and you're playing the Danforth Music Hall on November 15. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's like not this Saturday. This is next Saturday.
Yeah, it's a week from Saturday. Yeah.
So when you go to see a Hawksley Workman show for the uninitiated, like I know you got a good rap on you. We're going to get into that, but like between songs, do we get like some Hawk thoughts on?
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah,
so,
yeah. It's huge banter. In fact, I did see somebody, I think probably somewhat pejoratively refer to me as Hawksley Workman in reference to a show I did at the Calgary Folk Fest a few years ago. So yeah, there is a bit of banter. I do like to gab, as you know, Mike.
Okay, so I have a lot of questions. We're going to try to make this, I have threatened to make this an all killer, no filler hour here. So we're going to cover a lot of ground here. But Hawksley Night in Canada. See, I actually am donning a T-shirt I bought many moons ago, which is what is this again? Hacky Night, which is because Phil Kessel had that accent or whatever. It was Hacky Night when Phil Kessel was.
Yeah.
So, what is the current status of Hawksley Night in Canada?
Hawksley Night in Canada was my pandemic show, and it was a live to air internet show that you bought tickets for. It was kind of like a slow moving Pee-wee's Playhouse. Like it was me playing songs, but I had built a whole lot of stop motion animation, and there was different segments. We had a call-in portion of the show. When I realized that, because I was living in my father-in-law's basement during the beginning of the pandemic because we had moved to Peterborough, we were looking for a house, hadn't found anything. Then they turned the world off, and then I'm like, holy smokes, like, is music ever coming back? I remember even seeing people like musing aloud, like, I think the future of singing is quiet in the age of COVID. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm the loudest singer in town. What am I going to do? Anyway, so I built this show, Hawksley Night in Canada, and it really was kind of a real success. Like I feel like it's arguably maybe even one of the best pieces of art I've ever made in some ways. Like it had all that idealism of my 80s mindset. Like it hit me. I don't know if you saw the Paul Rubens documentary. It was interesting because
I watched it. I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it too. It
Pee
blew
Wee
my
as
mind.
himself.
Yeah, it really it floored me because but the biggest part that hit me was that as pop cultural like as we were the target of the pop culture in the 1980s, you and I. And it just got me thinking when Paul Rubens had said that Pee Wee Herman was performance art. And then I thought, holy man, he's not wrong. And then it got me thinking about just how broad the appetite was for arts and culture in the 1980s. We were ready for anything. I started to think of all of the quote unquote performance art we were exposed to in the 1980s. You could argue Mr. T was performance art, Cyndi Lauper was performance art, Pee Wee Herman was performance art, Max Headroom was performance art. There were so, like Hulk Hogan was performance art. Like you can like, and we bought it. You know, like I was talking about this with a friend, and we were talking about old video games, ColecoVision and stuff. And like, you know, I whenever I got to play a video game, it was usually on some kid's black and white TV, and it was so you'd get the box, and on the front of the box would be this artist rendering of what's going to happen in the game. It'd be beautiful, like
Right.
two tanks and explosions, and like you'd look at that like gorgeous piece of painted art on the cover, and then you'd plug the game in, and it was just grayscale, like a dark block and a lesser dark block shooting at one another. And but in the 80s kids' mind, we were totally ready to fill in the blanks. In our mind, we saw it all. All we needed was a picture to go, hey, look at this. This is what needs to be in your mind when you're looking at your black and white TV and seeing this grayscale, highly pixelated video game. And we did. So much of the 1980s, we did the cultural heavy lifting as the audience. You know, I really feel like we were happy to fill in the blanks.
Oh, 100%. I'm with you on all of this, but you had a podcast.
Yeah.
Like what's so not to confuse the two things. So Hawksley Night in Canada,
Yeah, that was the show.
that was the
podcast
show during the
called-
pandemic, right?
the podcast was called The Stumble Forward, and it was also great. I mean, I loved doing it. As you know, doing a proper podcast, something that has legitimate production value and has sort of produced content, like is worth listening to. It takes a huge amount of energy. Like it's a huge amount of energy. Now, maybe for you, you've got your infrastructure happening. But I just found after a couple seasons of my podcast,
Right.
we couldn't carry it any further. I'd still love to do it, even just the research aspect. Like I was doing 2 or 3 hours of research for each person, and that was a lot of extra stuff to add into my already busy life. It's like, hey, because I didn't want to sound like a clown when I was talking to people. You know, I wanted it to be very respectful, the same way that you do it. Like there's only if you're going to do this, because I've been interviewed by those kids who like have my Wikipedia open on their phone on their knee, and it's like, oh, this is going to be fun. Like, oh boy, you know, like, oh, so it says here that like is this isn't an interview? Like, call me when you're ready.
Yeah, but see, I think we're cut from the same cloth. Like you're looking for a conversation, like not a scripted read your Wikipedia. Yeah. You're looking for a conversation. I just had the guys. Did you ever have any interaction with the guys from Finger 11?
No.
I'm always curious about Canadian rock stars like yourself and how they interact with other Canadian rock stars. Okay, so before I tell the Finger 11 story, have you ever had any interaction with Boot Sauce?
Well, only that I thought Boot Sauce, I saw them from my rural childhood home. I was watching the vibe of Boot Sauce and going, get me to Toronto. I want to go where Boot Sauce is.
Well, they were in Montreal.
The hall is. Oh, is it Montreal? That's right. Me, Mom, and Morgenthaler and Boot Sauce. That's right. There was 2 options. It was like go to Montreal and join that gang, or go to Toronto and join the Queen Street Cowpoke gang.
Well, Montreal had the Doughboys.
Doughboys. Yeah.
With John Kastner. John Kastner just made his Toronto Mike debut. It was quite something.
Oh, cool. You know what band from Montreal I listen to almost constantly is.
Wait, do I get to guess? Do I get to guess?
You get to guess because my brain has suddenly like
the Box
gone out. Yes. Like,
yeah. On
the 14th of October, very early in the morning. That dark kind of spooky tune.
Yeah.
Say to me, please say that it can't be. Like I listen to that song 4 times a month to this day and have done for years. I remember it being on TV, and those were back in the days where, like, again, like, we would be hit by certain things. It was like an emotional ton of bricks. Like you'd just pass by Much Music and they would be trying this thing out. And it was that you could tell there was something historical going on. There was French and English. It was, again, very artful, very Canadian in some ways. Like it was like, hey, we're superimposing languages. And we had the media outlet back then to let that stuff happen for guys like you and I who had broad senses of like what was possible and what we wanted to have in our lives, like you could wander by even fish heads, you know what I mean, or
Sure.
or Because I Got High, like I sort of feel like there's an aspect of the one hit wonder that takes me nostalgically back to the 80s as well, because typically a one hit wonder, it wouldn't have been uncommon for a one hit wonder to be the best song on the radio that year, but too weird to like for a record company to go, we're going deep on Thomas Dolby. We love that She Blinded Me with Science stuff. Let's have more of that. It's like, we just want one of that so that we can continue to play that for the rest of time and watch the money pour in. Thank you very much, Thomas Dolby. Now go off to Silicon Valley and develop the flip phone or whatever it is you're going to do. And that's how it works. So that's kind of where I'm thinking.
I think it's a sin against nature, Hawk, that you don't have a podcast, like an outlet like this, because I think you've overthought it in the whole sense of production. Like, I think you can get it down to 20 to 30 minutes of homework, and then it's a live to air conversation like we're having right now. Do you think I'm going to edit this?
I know you're not, and that's wonderful and scary, because it's getting harder and harder to just speak aloud sometimes, because you don't know if you're going to move into shaky territory with any of the tribes, So because I'm a guy who just thinks my thoughts. I sort of, maybe erroneously, I'm kind of wired to believe my eyes and ears, and I like the things I think, So, but I'm with you, Mike. I'd love to do this. You know what? You want to trade jobs? I mean, you're a hunk. You could do music in a heartbeat. Just show up with that hunky hair.
Have you heard me sing, Hawk? Because if you'd heard me sing, you'd reconsider this. You know who I spoke to yesterday? He was in the basement yesterday. There's a lot of ground I got to cover with you. I said an hour. I meant 3 hours. Okay, we're changing.
We only got an hour. Yeah.
Ralph Benmergui was here yesterday.
Oh, great! I love Ralph, as you know.
Well, yeah, we during the pandemic, we all three got on on some Toronto Mic'd episodes. Absolutely, and we covered thoughts on Netanyahu and is there a genocide in Gaza and all this. So I think when you have episodes like that, what you're talking about, which is really pop culture. You can self-edit. You're a smart guy. What is your IQ, Hawksley?
Oh, I don't know. 2 digits, I'm sure.
98, 99? That's not bad here. Shout out to 299 Queen Street West. Okay, but I do think you can self-edit and go live to tape, even if it's once a week, and even if it's just you riffing on observations, things you've seen. You could talk about Pee-wee as himself. Is it Pee-wee as himself? Yeah. I thought that was a tremendous documentary, but I'm a big Pee-wee head anyways. But,
me too.
And I know you are, because I've seen Hawksley Night in Canada. Okay, so firstly, where the hell are you? Why aren't you in my basement?
I'm in Quebec, in the middle of nowhere. My wife is involved in Ottawa Blues Fest and their Small Halls Festival, and there's sort of a wrap-up meeting going on, and so everybody has joined in this pretty beautiful, like, far-flung resort in the middle of like the wilds of Western Quebec. So I'm all about it. Saw Blue Jays and Chipmunks this morning. It's perfect.
Okay, but you can see Blue Jays and Chipmunks in Toronto.
Yeah, I know. I should have been there. I don't get to Toronto much. It's hard to get in and out of the city, as you know.
Yeah.
There are things about. I find it hard to get in and out of Toronto. I just don't go. Even though I only live a short distance down the road, I have my life in Peterborough, and I just don't get to the city as often as I should. I think when they closed House of Lords, I was like, what am I even coming here for? Like, what's the last sort of like stalwart from the olden days of when my dad would my hand would be sweating because my dad would be holding our hands for safety so hard on Yonge Street for fear that we were going to be swarmed by skinheads in the late 1980s. Yeah.
I think we're almost the same age, because I remember going downtown after high school or something wearing my 3-hole Docs. And that was a real concern that, you might get rolled for your Docs.
Yeah.
Like I have an 11-year. I mean, I have older kids too. I never once had a chat with them. Oh yeah, when you go to the Eden Center, just be careful. They might roll you for your Air Jordans or whatever. Is that wild?
It is wild. And maybe I feel like that information energy came before the 24-hour news cycle. Like,
Right.
God love my mom, but all she would have needed to hear is that news story once to go, that's it. That's the new rule. Skinheads are rolling people for their Doc Martens. And I think that kind of a story just parked in sort of nervous moms, like wandering imaginations. Like we were, that was it. We were cooked at that point. I think it's like, oh man, like we're going to be lorded over for these shoes for the rest of the time.
Well, sort of like where every Halloween as a kid, you were worried about razor blades.
Oh, Mike, worried about. So I grew up with a mom who was an extreme worrier. And I also grew up in the middle of nowhere.
Huntsville, right?
North of Huntsville.
North of Huntsville, okay.
North of Huntsville, yeah. So I grew up on what was called Highway 592, the old highway at the corner of 592 and Bay Lake Road. Now, there was no houses you could have walked to. So my mom, who was a young, hip, cool hairstylist, and we had a hair salon in our house, and because kids would come from miles around because this 20-some-odd-year-old woman was like cutting hair like Howard Jones or Daryl Hall or whatever you liked, she could come there because I had the young mom hairdresser. So she had a lot of probably gossip coming in, a lot of stuff to worry about, a lot of stuff to think about. What are we talking about? I can't even remember now. What am I supposed to be saying?
Halloween candy has razor blades in it.
Right. So my mom would go all out on our costumes because she was very crafty. She's a fine artist now and a very successful one. So inevitably, my mom would like make a cool outfit, and then we'd have to get into our snowsuits. We'd get loaded into the car. My dad would drive us to 5 houses, and that was it. And then my mom would still check our stuff. She would it was like, these are our neighbors. They live down the road from us. They're not putting pins in the Mars bars, for goodness sake.
So this fear, being rolled for your docs, you're going to get razor blades stuck in your Halloween candy. It kind of reminds me of growing up and thinking, at some point in my life, I'm going to have to worry about quicksand.
Quicksand was an 80s thing. Like, it was one of those archetypal things. Like, here's one thing for you, Mike, too. I was with my brother the other day. Quicksand was it was an archetype. It fit in as a fear modality for kids of a certain age persuasion. Well, remember this from the 80s? If you wanted to denote sexiness, it would be a soapy toe would come out of
right.
A bathtub like this,
yes.
And in the 80s, that meant something hot was about to happen.
Well, that was in Crocodile Dundee.
The soapy toe.
I feel like Linda.
It was in everything.
Yes, it was in everything. But Linda, I want to get her name right, so I'll be fact-checked on this later by Robert Lawson. But Kozłowski, I want to say, I'll just call her Linda Polish, okay? I remember her in the bathtub watching Crocodile Dundee. It's etched into my memory, this soapy leg in the bathtub.
Yeah. Now, that stuff was meant to transmit a distinct message to guys like you and I in the 1980s. Like, back when, we were exposed to the bra section of Sears catalog. Like, it was a very limited hedonistic sort of outlets out there,
Okay, so let me ask you this. Have you ever, in the wild, literally in a ravine or a foresty area, have you ever, as a kid, encountered somebody's porno collection?
No,
hidden in a tree or something?
No.
Okay, so
No.
So this happened multiple times, and either High Park or behind Rennie Park, and these different parks I would frequent in West Toronto as a kid. You would literally you'd find in a tree a plastic bag with old Playboys and stuff in it. This is and I just think of that as something that you would just encounter in the wild in the 80s, and today that's not happening, Hawk.
But I think probably pornography is more prevalent than ever. Again, I don't even know if I saw naked breasts until I was in my 20s, honestly. I don't know if there was images available, maybe on Benny Hill or something like that.
I saw the odd glimpse on Benny Hill on WUTV. Once in a while, there'd be a shower scene and you could see a little nipple.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, of course I remember it. It was shocking in a way. And I mean, I'm grateful for the innocence of my upbringing, frankly. You know, my mom also, like, we had a lot of strict policies in our house. Like, my mom really guarded the cultural intake valve. Like, she was guarding it pretty heavily. And I remember, like, no horror movies. Like around like all my friends who watched Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, and they would sketch Freddy, what is Freddy, the Freddy guy and the claws.
Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger. I didn't see any of that. My mom read the PG-13 thing, the like it was gospel. It was like a scientist had given us this thing, and we had to abide by these rules. And I think because my mom had a hair salon, there was a lot of people coming in with their own hot takes on stuff. And I even remember my Prince and the Purple Rain cassette being extracted from my collection and being put in sight on the top of the fridge as it went under review, because I think, Darling Nikki has reference to masturbation and stuff. And I feel like somebody must have come into my mom's shop and said, "Ooh, that Prince album is quite racy." And then all of a sudden my Prince album disappeared from my cassettes. And I felt like for a couple weeks could watch the Prince tape on the top of the fridge. Like, it wasn't even my favorite song, but I did know that there was stuff going on in Darling Nikki that was like, whoa, like, this presents a vision of life that I only am starting to feel like I may have some sense of what's going on,
Well, Rough Trade had a big hit with High School Confidential.
Oh, yeah.
And they had to, I hope I have my stations right and everything, because, I've done a couple of thousand of these, so it's all bleeding together a bit. But I believe they had to re-record it for Chum FM, 104.5 Chum FM, because of the Cream Your Jeans line.
Right.
So just... general shout out to Carol Pope. Any Carol Pope engagements from Hawksley Workman?
I was just texting with Carol Pope yesterday.
Well, that's fucked up, right? That we just chat for an hour, and I'm going to randomly mention Carol Pope.
I know it is. Yeah, it is.
And you texted with her yesterday.
I texted with her yesterday because she was asking if I could be involved in Kevin's memorial show. Right. I actually sang with Carol. High School Confidential, pardon me, at their Phoenix show 2 years ago when they were inducted into the Hall of Fame. And yeah, I mean, that song is, how far ahead of its time could that song be? It's arguable. It's like, it's still ahead of its time to some degree,
We lost Kevin Staples too soon. And shout out to my dear friend Rob Bruce from Spoons. We had a long talk about Kevin. He was playing. So that was at the Phoenix. It wasn't the Elma Combo.
That was at the Phoenix. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So when you were here, Hawksley, we're gonna set the table here, and then, it's gonna be all killer, no filler. And if I leak over an hour, if I leaked over a titch, would you be in trouble?
You want to know something? I'm in a hotel where we asked if we could have a slightly later checkout, and they said for $25. And it was like, is this the way the world works now?
What time is the checkout? 11?
11, yeah. So,
oh my God, okay.
I think I could probably go.
No,
11,
you know what? I'll hit the boat. You can always disappear, and, we'll get this done. Okay.
Right.
But you and I have recorded several times together.
Yeah, I love it.
This is a fact. But ready for this? This is a bit of a mind blow. We've only met once.
Is that right?
So this is the mind blow, because I was thinking, Hawk is coming back on the show. He's been on several times. He's a beloved FOTM. Like, you're right. You're a top tier FOTM, Hawksley Workman. But then I'm okay. And I know I'm gonna jump on the stage and maybe sing "Anger Is Beauty" or something with you in Guelph. Like, I'm gonna see you in Guelph. Okay, that's happening. And shout out to Ian Service and the VP who are gonna join me for Hawksley Workman in Guelph. This is gonna be amazing. But your only time in this basement was November 2019, so pre-pandemic. It was episode 536. Mike and I chatted with you basically about...
Let me guess. Was it October 30th or November the 1st?
It was November. I don't have the date. I just know it was November 2019. And I was an all killer, no filler hour. But I'm going to just be very frank with you here. I've only had this, so I've done a couple of thousand of these, over 1,000 unique guests. And once in a while, I'll record with somebody and it'll click in a way where I'm like, we're going to be fast friends and there's going to be many visits from this person.
Oh, yeah.
That happened with you.
We could be that too. I know.
So, but here's the other thing. You know who else it happened with, who hasn't been back since? And this episode, I think, was before yours. It happened with Tyler Stewart from Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh, yeah.
So where sometimes in person, they get it. Like you get it.
Yeah.
Tyler gets it. It's just like we're making this beautiful music.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my God, like they'll be over every month. This is amazing. Tyler's never been back. You've never been back.
Well, Tyler's probably a pretty busy guy. Like
but he lives in Toronto.
To me, this is performance art, what we're doing. I want to be as engaged as you are because we're making something that's supposed to be worth listening to. So I want to be invested in you. I also like you. And as we've said in the past, like I like highly individual people. I like people who are living outside of the machine. I like people who have decided to go their own way and create something out of thin air that serves people in a way that can't be otherwise served. And you fit all that to me. So that's why. And Tyler is that guy too. I mean, what a hilarious and funny and thoughtful character that guy is. Like,
yes.
I wish that look, in an ideal world, you and me and Tyler should all live on the same damn street, but
in the same house.
Same house. We should go back in time, roommate it.
We'll discuss this.
Goat and Dave, fattening up our tapeworms,
Kids in the Hall. The one time I just talked to Ralph because the former manager of Kids in the Hall just passed away, and I was asking Ralph for his thoughts on this gentleman. But I had the most amazing experience with Scott Thompson earlier this year on Toronto.
Oh yeah,
and yeah, I love the audio, and I've been singing that. I have 4 kids, and all of them, at a very young age, got the audio and do and day, audio and day, audio and do and day, fattening up our
tapeworms.
Unbelievable. All right, where's your Juno?
I have 3 Junos.
Really? For what?
Yeah. Well, this is funny. Like, I have 3 Junos in my house. Whenever we're updating the bio, it's like I have 3 Junos with my name on them. I have for video for Jealousy or Cigarette, like best new artist, I think. And then I have a Juno that I got from because I was involved in the Waving Flag.
Yes, you were.
So those are my 3 Junos. They sit in my house, and if I could be somebody who could go back and talk to my younger self, like when I won the 2 Junos the same year for the Delicious Wolves, I was living in Paris and feeling really overfeeling myself, and I was like, go back to Toronto or go back to Canada for these Junos. It was like, oh, I don't want to. And then now I'd give anything to go back and to have enjoyed that experience because I wasn't thinking straight. And now I don't imagine I'll ever like the Junos I don't imagine I'm getting to the Junos anytime soon is what I'm saying. It's got its own sort of mandate and I don't feel like I'm probably a part of it. But like so there was even a time when my Junos, I had them at my parents' different houses. Like it was like, my mom had one, my dad had one. This is before I got the Waving Flag Juno. And it was like, I was like, oh, it's embarrassing to have these things around. And now they have you can see them in my house. Like if you come to my house and you're in the living room, it's like, whoa, what are those? Are those Junos? Like now they're in my house. I'm so proud of them,
I would wear my Juno around my neck like I'm Flavor Flav.
Yeah, I've thought about it. During the Hawksley night in Canada, I had the Junos always in view because I had seen David Foster in a sort of a video thing, and he had like his 1,700 Grammys and other awards, all like kind of pouring off the edge of a grand piano, and I was like, what a flex! I was like, I got to do that, I got to do the David Foster thing.
It's funny you mentioned David Foster because David Foster, of course, produced "Tears Are Not Enough." Where you were far.
We've talked about this. I was so sad to not be included in the damn "Tears Are Not Enough" video. I could go on and on and on.
Yeah, but weren't you like 10 years old?
But I was so invested in that stuff. That stuff was meant for me.
Yeah, but when episode
every day goes by.
I'm a big. We call it Tane around here. I'm a big Tane head. I got to collect. And Carol Pope was on Tane. So speaking of "Tears Are Not Enough," but I think for your gen, the equivalent to the Tears Are Not Enough, although obviously not as not as interesting to chat about every second episode of Toronto Mike. Maybe it should be, but it is the Waving Flag for Haiti that you're a part of. Like
I don't remember much of it. Like I was in and out of a studio in Vancouver. It didn't have the collective experience. Did you watch the making of We Are the World? Did you see that doc?
100%. Yes.
It blew my mind.
How could I not watch that, Hawk?
Well, all of us had to watch it. I was always allowed to stay up to watch the Grammy Awards and the American Music Awards. So as a kid, I wanted to be Michael Jackson, like it was my entire, it was it was an acute focus I had. So I would stay up late to watch Michael Jackson do his stuff. And that was in the era when Lionel Richie would host and he'd win some awards and he'd say, outrageous. That was outrageous. And he hosted for a couple of years and would say outrageous. Now, fast forward all these years, like I was just a kid taking in the television with no internet, no context. To me, these were people in outer space, But there was that year where they were all on stage at the American Music Awards and they were all just chomping at the bit just to get out of there into the studio to record We Are the World. Like it blew my mind to think that in with this sort of like hindsight is 2020, that there was a whole atmosphere of showbiz happening that I understand now. Like I get it. I get that when I was sort of in my almost famous time, like people were like, maybe we could get them there by helicopter. Like stuff like that happened to me back in the day. And then I was watching and just kind of looking at the comparison study of, as somebody who lives in showbiz, it's like I had no idea as a kid that there was so much showbiz happening behind the scenes at the American Music Awards, that everybody was going to go and then make this song that was going to blow my mind,
And they weren't going to invite Madonna.
Is that right? I don't know. I guess they didn't. I can't remember that part.
Well, noticeably absent, and apparently she wasn't invited. So like think about that year. 85, I guess. Yeah. 84, 85. Bottom line is Madonna is one of the biggest, pop stars on the planet, and she's not invited. They couldn't get Prince. You saw that. They tried to lure Prince with
because he
Sheena
wanted
Easton
to be
Bate.
in his own room to do a solo. I love that. I just think.
Well, Tears Are Not Enough. They let Bruce Cockburn record his part he was in Germany. And I think,
that right?
Yeah, I think Jim Valance, or I think it was Jim Valance, flew to Germany to get this and then flew it back. But they do make exceptions for certain stars. But okay, all right.
I was just texting with Bruce Cockburn yesterday as well.
You know how hard I tried? Bernie Finkelstein is an FOTM.
Yeah. Oh, I love Bernie.
In our thoughts, I don't think he's doing well right now. I just want to say we all love Bernie, like one of my favorite sit-downs.
Yeah, I love Bernie.
I've been asking him, who's an FOTM, to get Bruce on the show for, I think now we're going on year 12, okay? And it hasn't happened yet. But listen, here's what I'm going to do, Hawk, because we're going to try to get you out by 11. I'm going to just right now quickly shout out some partners, and then I have questions for you from FOTMs, and then I have questions from me because it's my damn show. Okay, so this is the exciting new sponsor. I wish you were here because I have a moose mug for you. This is a moose mug from Christmas Vacation.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
And that is courtesy of retrofestive.ca. It is Canada's pop culture and Christmas store. If anyone listening wants to save 10%, use the promo code FOTM at retrofestive.ca, okay? What an amazing partnership, because this is important, Hawk. Take a note, or maybe I should just send this to Jennifer, since that's how you communicate with Hawksley Workman, okay? Very important here. November 29, it is the last Saturday of November at noon Eastern time, by the way, okay? Noon, November 29, at Palma's Kitchen, that is in Mississauga, second floor. So not only am I recording live, and people like yourself, Hawk, could pop on the mic for a couple of minutes and say hello and share your holiday greetings for everybody, but everybody eats Palma pasta for free. Everybody drinks Great Lakes beer for free, and everyone gets a gift from Retro Festive.
Whoa!
And you know what it costs to attend TMLX 21 on November 29?
No.
Nothing.
Unreal.
Yeah, unreal. You got to be there, okay? You got to be there if you're not on tour, which you're on, but we're going to end with that upset. Okay, so shout out to, quickly, Doug Mills from Blue Sky Agency. If anyone listening is looking for dynamic and creative work environments, you can write Doug. He's Doug at blueskyagency.ca. Engage Doug. He knows his stuff at Blue Sky Agency. Ridley Funeral Home have a great podcast called Life's Undertaking. And we always say shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. Recyclemyelectronics.ca. That's where you go, Hawk, if you have a room full of old cables, old devices.
I got that. Yep.
You probably have a whole basement full. Go
Yeah, let's go to
to
the studio. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, recyclemyelectronics.ca. Put in your postal code and find out where you can drop it off to be properly recycled. Nick Iones has a great podcast called Building Toronto's Skyline. In fact, next week, I'm stealing one of his guests. He had on this great architect named Les Klein, and Les is going to be in the basement because Les is the guy Moses hired to make 299 Queen Street the hub for city TV and much music and to fulfill his vision. So we're going to talk in depth about the building itself, 299 Queen Street West, with the architect himself, Les Klein. That's exciting, right?
That's heavy. That's heavy. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's what we're doing over here. Okay, and last but not least, of course, I want to give some love to, that's everybody. Oh, Kindling. I'm sorry. Hey, Hawk, I can't remember. Are you a cannabis guy?
I can appreciate it.
Okay. Well, if you ever require cannabis or cannabis products, just go to shopkindling.ca.
Okay.
You order it there. In under an hour, it's in your hands. Like it's delivered in under an hour. You can track the delivery and it's discreet. Okay. Nobody knows you're ordering weed. Okay. Not that there'd be a stigma with a rock star ordering weed, but shopkindling.ca is where FOTMs go for that. Okay, here's some questions for you.
All right.
This came in from somebody named, I hope I got the name right, DJ Jameson. Do you know that name?
No.
Because he writes, say hi for me and thanks for the gold record. We earned that shit together. DJ Jameson.
Jameson would have been a Jameson Elliott.
Okay.
He engineered Lover Fighter.
What a small world. Okay, that was on Blue Sky. Okay, so that came in from DJ Jameson. T.O. Joe says, and I didn't even know this. I can't wait to hear your answer. What was it like working with, hope I say this right, my French is rusty, Marion Cotillard?
Yeah.
How do you say that name?
Marion Cotillard. Yeah.
I nailed it. Okay. And how did that come to pass? And are you still in touch?
I had this wonderful time in my life in the early 2000s where I really started to resonate in France. And I had this like funny, like famous in France couple of years where I lived in Paris. And it was the kind of thing where like you'd get into cabs and I'd hear my song on the radio or like, I was always picked up at the airport by a limousine or whatever. Like I kind of had this weird thing happening to me in and around like 2001 to 2003. And I lived in Paris and kind of, I did a lot of media. I did a lot of TV and radio. And so Marion Cotillard was like similarly like launching her career at the time. And my record label guy was friends with her from school and we just hung out a lot. I remember being like at a very wine heavy like record company meeting that Marion was at and then we were being let in the back door of a museum in Paris where a ping pong table is being sort of like rolled out amongst the like relics and like we're sort of drunkenly playing ping pong into the middle of the wee hours with me, Marion, some other like music business people. And, so I, that day that she did that, because she was in a video of mine and she did that work for free and she was becoming very, very famous. It was like a total, like, you're kidding me. How'd you get Marion Cotillard in your video? And then I've written a song for her. I was hanging out with Marion in Los Angeles. I wrote a song for her she was doing a commercial for a luxury brand and needed this song. So I wrote this song and she was there because she knew she was about to win the Academy Award for, I can't remember what movie. And so I was kind of hanging out with her on the Saturday.
Is it Chocolat?
Maybe, no, it wasn't Chocolat, but I know what it was. It was the Petit Oiseau. It was the one about
the piano?
French singer. The French singer.
Edith Piaf.
Yeah, Edith Piaf. Yeah.
La Vie en Rose.
La Vie en Rose, yes. So I believe she was winning an Academy Award for that. And I was around her and it was kind of weird because it was like, we were doing vocals and stuff. And she's like, oh, I got to have a lunch with Glenn Close. And it was like, Glenn Close was kind of talking her down and she'd flown a bunch of her childhood friends in from France to hang out just to kind of like keep the gravity in the room. And it was pretty interesting to be around that, if I'm being honest.
Well, you're living the life, Hawk. That's why I get to tap into it once in a while on Toronto Mike. Glenn Close, just when Robert Redford died, I revisited The Natural because I had it on, I guess there was a free preview of like First Choice or Super Channel or something. And I recorded the VHS, The Natural. So I actually, as you know, because you're similar vintage, back in the day, whatever you had on VHS, that's all you could watch on demand. So I saw The Natural, I think, but 130 times, okay?
Oh, yeah.
But Glenn Close is in that, and love that movie. I think that, I hear mixed reviews, but I'm like, what are you talking about? What a great movie. But there you go.
I don't think I know it. I feel like that's one of those adult-y movies that... Yeah.
But it is adulty. It's very adulty. You almost forget how adulty it is. But a lot of that movie is on the baseball field and very baseball-y, so it fits right in with like a Field of Dreams or a Bull Durham.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. So that's an amazing story. But I have coming on this program in like a week or maybe it's 2 weeks, Alan Doyle making his Toronto Mike debut.
Oh, yeah.
So you produced Great Big Sea.
And an Alan Doyle, I think his first solo record I did as well. Alan is, there should be a science fair project just to analyze the animal energy of Alan. Alan is like he's a metabolic wonder, I learned a lot working with Alan. He's a thoughtful and heart-driven guy, and he understands show business. Like he's a real show business guy. He's like if you watch Alan Doyle for a while, you learn stuff, and he's that guy. So I love Alan. And it was so weird even when because I produced a Great Big Sea record, and I saw Great Big Sea videos on Much Music. Like I remember when they were in their rugby outfits, like in doing a rugby video, and I was like, I even had a moment when I was in the studio with these guys going like, I used to watch you guys on TV. Like, how is this even happening?
Right. Oh, no, absolutely. Did you get to work with Russell Crowe?
I've met Russell Crowe because he did a movie with Renee Zellweger, and Renee Zellweger was a big fan of the Delicious Wolves record. And when they did that fight movie, the boxing movie in Toronto, the two of them really connected.
Cinderella Man.
Cinderella Man.
I lived nearby where a lot of that was filmed. I followed that. Oh, quick aside, and we're going to get right back to this story about Russell Crowe. But the night my second born was born, so when it was like 3 a.m. or something when my second born was born. Does that make sense? Yeah. Michelle. Shout out to Michelle. And that night, I remember I was driving from Women's College Hospital, and Simpsons or Sears was dressed up to look like Madison Square Gardens in the 30s or whatever. And they were filming Cinderella Man, and I was stopped by the cops so that the 1930s could happen to my left with Madison Square Gardens. And I can't tell you how surreal that night was. I had to go home because I had a firstborn to take care of. Right? Yeah. My mom's staying with him. But anyway, that's my memory of Cinderella Man. And another movie I feel was underappreciated. It's a Ron Howard film, I think. It's very good.
I think it was great too. Yeah. It came out around another boxing movie, the Clint Eastwood boxing movie. I think they came out around the same time, and it was like only one was. I think you're only allowed one boxing movie per year for the market. I think is how it works.
I think so.
Anyway, so Russell and Renee, I hung out with Russell at a venue in Sydney, Australia, because we both played the same place.
Wow.
And I met him, and he was the Gladiator movie is a movie I still watch if I'm flying, and it's a guarantee. It's like, oh, you got 3 hours, watch Gladiator. I've watched Gladiator umpteen times, and so it was pretty interesting to be in the room with the Gladiator. He was very kind and deferential to me. If I'm being honest, he was like, the way he addressed me was very complimentary. Like he was, at that point, I think he was still really into my record and was like, addressed me as somebody who was like, you're really in my life right now kind of way. And it was really touching. But I haven't seen him since. We've communicated a bit on Twitter. He put a lovely tweet out about me like a year or two ago, just remembering. He said, I just listened to this record again after not having heard it for a while, and it's still great. And it was just like, lovely stuff like that. I loved Russell in Romper Stomper, which I think was his first movie. Do you remember that?
I saw him for the first time in, what was the film noir with Danny DeVito and Kim Basinger? What was that movie? The film.
No idea.
Well, it was a big one. I think it won Best Picture at the Oscars. But
okay.
Yeah, so hold on, because I can't even proceed until I get this, and I don't know why I'm blanking. It is called, I think L.A. Confidential. Why did I forget that
Oh
name?
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
that's my first memory of Russell Crowe.
Yeah. I mean, there was other good ones. There's Beautiful Mind.
Well, of
There's the one
course.
he did with Al Pacino about the cigarette company. You know the one I'm talking about, where he's a cigarette exec.
100%. That's exceptional. These are great movies.
It's,
But you know why I brought up Russell Crowe? And I'm
why's
only
that?
speeding you along because I know I'm going to try to hit this
Oh, yeah,
11
we're
o'clock.
running out of time. Yeah.
I know, crazy. We have to get you in this basement again next time you're coming
You
through
do.
town, which I understand you are coming through town.
We need to talk about this.
Well, okay.
Danforth Music Hall. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, of course. November 15th, you're at the Danforth Music Hall. So just to tie up the Russell Crowe thing is he sings on I think it's a Great Big Sea album that you produced.
I don't think he sang on that record. He may have sang on a record after that. Maybe he did.
Well, you know how I know? Because my source for this is Discogs, and they're always correct.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's true. Maybe he did overdub. I can't remember that.
Okay, so what can you tell us all about Danforth Music Hall November 15? Are there even tickets available to see Hawksley Workman?
There are tickets available. They're going quick, and it's a venue I've played over the years many times. I love it. It's like one of those venues when you walk, like I remember when I first moved to Toronto and I'd walk past the Rivoli, it was like, man, I just want to play the Rivoli. I just want to be at the Rivoli, you know? And I feel like the Danforth is one of those venues that once I did the Rivoli and my career was moving up, it's like, next stop is the Danforth, you know? It's got a true to life theater feel. It's got an old theater feel to it. It's the last couple shows I did there with my band. This show was me and my long, suffering piano player of 26 years, Mr. Lonely. Right. But we're also doing like this. We're doing a synth pop set within the sort of standard duo set because I can't rest and just keep doing the same thing over and over. So we're changing the game. It's also, if you're a fan, I'm playing songs that you've never heard live on this tour for sure.
Well, all fans, whether you're a fan of Hawksley Workman on Toronto Mic'd or a fan of his great music, you got to get a ticket and check him out at the Danforth Music Hall. I mentioned I will be seeing you in Guelph, of all places, even though I live in Toronto. Maybe both, who knows? But you do your latest EP. I find you to be a prolific artist in that you produce a lot of material, but you have a EP called Fly Like an Ego.
Yeah.
That's like your latest offering, and I have a good source on this. You're playing Obsessed and Love to Love Life, which are Fly Like an Ego jams on this tour.
Yes, that is correct. And I'm so excited about it. Obsessed actually did really, really well on satellite radio this year. It was one of those things where it was like, you've got to really challenge yourself to the entertainment industry has changed so much. There used to be like 6 prizes in the Canadian music business, and now there's like negative 14 prizes. And so if you win a prize, like getting on Toronto Mic or getting something on internet radio or whatever, like you got to celebrate it. I got to do one-hand cartwheels through the house. Like there was a time when like at the tail end of the record business when I started my career, and it'd be like, Hawk, you're going straight to the top, like that kind of like, you just listen to me, Hawk. And now we're all just like, it's a rowdy business. And that's the thing that that's what I love about what you've done is because it's not easy to build what you've built. It's not easy to continue to nurture the thing that I've built over these years. Like the world kind of really is designed for people to go to one of 3 stores, to like one of 3 singers, to like one of 3 sports teams. Like it's kind of designed for you to like, you just step into this pair of pants and we've done all the thinking for you. You've created a product that requires an audience of people who are still thinking for themselves, and I feel like that's the same thing for me. Like I feel like my audience are one of those, like, they're like smart Gen Xers who seek something like unique and extraordinary, as we were trained to seek unique and extraordinary in the 1980s.
We have the same audience. Hawk, this is why we need to collaborate more. We have the same audience, smart Gen Xers. Yeah,
that's who we're a highly competent, very dynamic, intellectual. We can fix our stuff, like we're a very unique. And I know that we are not like a majority stakeholder on the planet at the moment. I think there's more millennials than us, but we connect back to a time when like you and I would have been riding around with a stick, and that stick was a sword, and then it was a telescope, and then it was a golf club. I don't know. Like it was like we used our imaginations. We lived in our imaginations. You and I have gone to our imaginations and created something that was born in our imaginations. And here we sit today doing the thing that we love to do thanks to our imaginations.
What about 3 rapid fire questions to see us out, and then you can get out of that hotel before they charge you, okay? 3 rapid fires, okay?
Yeah.
This one might be really quick. Do you have any stories or engagements at all with the Trues who are in this basement on Monday?
Not really, no.
What do you think is your most popular song?
Hard to say. I would say it's probably Striptease or Smoke Baby or Battlefords.
See, I'm not a Spotify guy, but I'm a premium YouTube guy, and according to my analytics, Jealous of Your Cigarette has the most views.
But that's because that video was quite compelling.
Okay,
so that video kind of... Yeah, that video gets a lot of looks still. Like, it's funny, I'll still poke around some nights if I've got nothing to do, and I'll look on the YouTube and I'll have a little self-reflective, and people still comment. Like, we just read a comment today that was like, I thought that this was a dream I had as a kid. I didn't realize this was a real video. Like,
wow. What do you think is the best song that you have ever written?
Probably Battlefords, maybe Don't Be Crushed. I feel like I've written like 3 or 4 really, really high bar things, and then those things, they live to poke at you for the rest of your life. Like, it's like, hey, can you write another one like this? It's hard to do, but
I can imagine.
I also am so grateful that I've written those songs.
All right, now the real last. I think I lied and said 3 and I meant 4. Okay, last question. And we might have covered this your first visit, but I can't remember, so you can do it again quickly. Is there an origin, like this name, Hawksley Workman?
Oh, yeah.
What's the origin story behind the name Hawksley Workman? Because, fun fact, that's not your birth name.
Oh, it's not my birth name. I changed my name to Hawksley Workman when I was about 20 or 21. And Hawksley is my mom's maiden name. And I was born Ryan Corrigan. My Corrigan side of the family is... oddly enough, I've been creating more connections with that side. But I was a real high achieving kid. I was like in everybody's face. I was coming in first. I was like singing at the church and winning the speech thing, and I'd had this thing where and then I was like a little young like super drummer kid in school, and everybody's like, look at this kid go, and I had this like weight on me as a kid, like it was like, because everybody thought, oh, a lot big things are coming from this kid, and it started to, and so by the time and then I'd do something and people like, can you believe how good he is? He's only 16. Can you believe how good he is? He's only 17. And I started to feel the heat of that, like, whoa, like people don't say, can you believe how good he is? And he's only 27, so it's like. So I kind of jettisoned Ryan Corrigan because I was tired of carrying his bags around. I built Hawksley Workman because I wanted to celebrate my grandma, who was still alive at the time, who was a magical woman who saw ghosts and lived a very rarefied existence. She taught my brother and I to be total weirdos. She let us wear makeup after we won poker, after we rolled cigarettes for my grandpa. We would wear makeup and go buy Legos down at the Eaton store in Huntsville. And so I wanted to make sure that I was changing my name. I knew that. I wanted an artist name. I didn't want Ryan Corrigan to be anywhere near me anymore. I still don't want him necessarily to be around me. And so, yeah, I changed my name. The Workman part was like a little message to myself. If I could go back, I'd probably change that again. But the Workman piece was like, I'm a perspiration over inspiration type of guy. Like, I'm a show up and make something. Show up and trust that it's going to be great. That's what you do every day. Show up and trust that it's going to be great. I'm not a let's wait around to see if the inspiration hits me type of character. I fully believe the inspiration is a constant. You probably feel the same. I don't tempt inspiration. Inspiration is a constant. You just got to keep working to have it.
Well, dude, this was awesome. You used a term earlier. You used the term metabolic wonder. That's how I describe Hawksley Workman, okay? You are a metabolic wonder, and I can't wait to see you in Guelph on November 21st. Maybe I'll be at the Danforth Music Hall November 15th. Can't get enough Hawk. And I can't wait to get you back in the basement. You're one of the top tier FOTMs.
Dude, we really do need to talk again about stuff.
Yeah,
the pandemic
call
was
me, man.
wonderful because we talked a lot. People talked in the pandemic. I had, I'm an early morning guy, right? So I had a couple of standing phone dates through the pandemic. Wow. Do you know Rich Marcella, Friendly Rich?
Oh yeah, he's been over. He's been over.
Yeah,
Friendly
he's
Rich.
wonderful. Well, he and I had a standing 5 a.m. phone call talk every Friday.
He's an
because
FOTM.
Let's talk. We got to talk. But you're right. I got to go before they charge me.
You got to go,
$25.
but for those who aren't watching the YouTube or just listening, which is most people, your wardrobe, your look right now, Hawksley, it's like if you took Where's Waldo and you stripped out the color.
Yeah, it is. It is a grayscale Where's Waldo. Yeah, exactly.
Peace out, Hawk. See you in Guelph.
See you later, buddy. Thanks so much.
And that brings us to the end of our 1794th show. I am serious, listeners. TMLX21 costs you nothing. No charge. You don't even have to RSVP. You don't have to fill in a form. There's no ticket required. So just show up at Palma's Kitchen, get to the second floor. I'm talking about November 29, the last Saturday of the month at noon. I'm recording live. Hebsy will be there. Peter Gross will be there. Larry Fedoric will be there. Honestly, I got some other A-listers. I don't want to ruin all the surprises, but I've got a few tricks up my sleeve for November 29th. But that's not what's important. What's important is that you will be there, and you could pop on the mic. It's up to you, but you definitely get a free meal from Palma Pasta. It's delicious. You'll love it. So that's going to cost you nothing. I am bringing fresh craft beer from Great Lakes. That'll cost you nothing. And Retro Festive will bring a gift for the first 75 people. So this is going to be a magical afternoon. My driver, the VP of Sales, is all set to get me there, to get the gear there. I've got the great Al Grego, who's going to bring the amp, the speakers, so everybody can hear us. What a day. TMLX 21, November 29, at noon at Palma's Kitchen. And that... I already did that part. I'm doing it again. And that brings us to the end of our 1794th show. Much love to all who made this possible. That's Retro Festive, Great Lakes Brewery, Palma Pasta, Nick Iones, Kindling, RecycleMyElectronics.ca, Blue Sky Agency, and Ridley Funeral Home. See you all Monday. The Trues are in the basement making their Toronto mic'd debut. Don't you dare miss it.